I absolutely love eating crab. Crab is easily my favorite food, probably my top 3 crustacean. It's the greatest food in the world, absolutely delicious. No matter where I'm eating, I look for it on the menu. Crab legs, crab cakes, crab puffs. If Jamba Juice had a crab smoothie, I would be first in line for an extra large with a butter booster. It's delicious. I love crab. But to get the full crab experience, you have to eat it in the shell. In the shell, have the crab delivered to you in its entirety in the same form that it left this earth. And you can have it right in front of you just to tear apart and eat the delicious insides. Because that's half the fun of eating crab, is you get to just demolish this animal. Someone already boiled it to death a while ago, have no remorse, show no respect, tear this crab apart. You can be very, very nice and respectful to the dead, dissect it carefully and take little bits apart. But there's absolutely no fun in that. If I gave you a house and said demolish this house, you wouldn't like gingerly pull all the nails out one by one. You would wrecking ball that shit. Also, I'm gonna swear, I said shit once, I apologize. You didn't warm us up for the shit. But yeah, you tear the crab apart. Absolutely let loose on the crab. There's not many animals you can do that with. You don't get many animals delivered to you in that form that you can just disrespect at the table. You could get a plate of ribs, devour the ribs, suck the meat off the bones, but then you're not gonna like grind up the bones after the fact. That would make you look very weird and kind of a dick. But with crab, it's not just encouraged with crab, it's actually required. If you don't tear that shit apart, you're not eating dinner that night. So I love crab. I had an interesting revelation though. I saw something that blew my crab-loving mind the other night. I was watching the BBC Planet Earth. It's a beautiful series. If you haven't seen it, watch it. So watching the Ocean's Deep episode. And there's a scene where this whale passes and goes slowly falling down to the bottom of the ocean. It hits the ocean floor, and out from the shadows scurry these gigantic crabs, frighteningly large crabs. They look, aptly named, they're Japanese spider crabs. They look like 5-foot-tall spiders, which frightened me to death, because I absolutely hate spiders. I hate spiders as much as I love crabs, so it was a very conflicting moment for me. And so I could just easily have turned it off right there, ran to my bedroom and cried myself to sleep. But no, I pushed on through. Luckily I did, because David Attenborough's gentle voice came over and told me, the Japanese spider crab is the world's largest heptapod. They can grow up to 4 meters from claw to claw. And I said, what? Out loud at the television? 4 meters from claw to claw. That means the 2 front legs of this crab are 6 feet each. I'm 6 feet. That's me. That's an atom-sized portion of crab that I could eat. And so my mind went crazy. I need to get my hands on these gigantic crabs. Because that would be ridiculous. That's so much crab meat. I would lay a tarp in my kitchen, and I would for some reason strip down, and I would be snapping crab legs over my knees, tearing them apart, fashioning like weapons out of it. I would have a crab leg draped over my shoulders like an exoskeleton boa. It would be ridiculous. I would set up buckets around my kitchen full of melted butter and just chip crab chunks across into them, only to walk over and bob them out like apples at the county fair. I want these giant crabs so badly. Not yet though, someday I'll get them. I also work in local news. I work at a television station. I'm a video editor, been doing it for quite some time now. It's an interesting job to work in news. My job consists of stringing together a series of video clips to describe whatever is being discussed in the news that day, whether it's murders, burglaries, drug deals, homicides, robberies, meth busts, or whatever baby animal was born at the zoo that day. And so working in news is strange. You become callous to the idea of how awful the world is. Because we see a lot of terrible shit there. I see, not even stuff put on there, I see a lot of bad things. But there's still, I feel like I've been pretty good. Like 7 years I've been doing it. Not a lot gets me, but there's one segment of society that really just, it strikes me to my core and I can't tolerate it any longer. These people, that's right, I said these people, they will hurt themselves and others on a regular basis with no remorse and no repercussions. And I'm talking, of course, about hot air balloon enthusiasts. It never fails. Annually, these people gather in these fields with their archaic floating machines, inflate them up, float around for a while, and somebody's going to plummet to their death, unfortunately. It's sad, but it's not hard to see why. It's not rocket science. If it was rocket science, they'd be in much better shape than they are in the hot air balloons, because there's no controls whatsoever. It requires a pilot's license to be a hot air balloonist, but I can give you the rundown right now of your abilities. Your controls consist of, it's very one-dimensional. There's one thing you can do, and that's up. But don't get me wrong, there's variations of the up. You can go up faster, and up even faster. The up even faster is definitely my favorite, because that's where the sandbags come into play. And sandbags are kind of like the superchargers of the air, where if you are for some reason getting chased by somebody and you need to get up even faster than you are going up, boom, you're off. Simple as that. That's the quick getaway. But the recipe for disaster in these hot air balloons is there's 3 elements. You have your wicker basket to cram people in, which makes sense. Wicker, we make patio furniture out of it. Let's throw it a couple hundred feet up in the air. Up above that, you have 70,000 cubic feet of, for some reason, rainbow patterned balloon material. And then wedged down between that is a jet engine. Seems like there would be better ways to accomplish this goal. But yeah, so getting up's one thing. Getting down is a whole different ballgame. You have 2 options in that case. Option 1, clear your evening schedule, wait for that giant balloon to deflate, and gracefully make your way back down to Earth several hours later. Or option 2, plummet to your death. I recommend option 1 unless you have a prior engagement, then you go with option 2. Controls, as far as you're concerned, when you're up in the air, are non-existent. You are at the will of the wind. Your controls consist of, we're going that way. That's it. There's no more effort. It's like you're going to direct the wind in your direction. No. That's why it's not even transportation. Hot air balloons are a glorified viewing tower, I guess, because transportation, any other form of transportation, is something that gets you from point A to point B, whereas hot air balloons gets you from point A to hopefully an open field somewhere, preferably away from power lines. There's no other options. You just go with wherever it can take you. So I can't not recommend hot air balloons enough. Tell your friends and family to stay away from them. Invest your time in other hobbies like zeppelining or whatever other archaic methods you can do to get in the air and get a better view. The only thing I can promise you is that if you do go up on a hot air balloon and happen to unfortunately pass, I'm sorry. I will do my best to put together a beautiful montage that we can loop over and over and over of your Snoopy balloon head or whatever it may be floating down above your body. And we'll air that after my obituary from overdosing on crab. Thank you very much.
And I have never had a student get a monkey balloon for graduating. I assume that's for you.
It's better than the cap and gown.
It is better than the cap and gown, you're right.